Meet the new boss. Same as the old boss. It's early days yet, but Dortmund's stuttering start under Sahin suggests another season of domestic disappointment. Only 6 months removed from a Champions League final, yet it feels like decades ago. So let's fix it. Welcome to the Moneyball Clinic. I took the top 30 leagues, simulated them in full detail, then smashed it all together to create an aggregated database. This will be the baseline from which I'll be taking a look at a different team each episode, analysing their squad, creating a simple tactic, and using performance data to suggest practical transfer targets. It's June 2023, mere weeks after Dortmund lost the title on goal difference in Edin Terzic's first season. I say lost rather than missed out because a shock final day draw at home against Mainz opened the door for Bayern to make it 11 titles in a row. Defeat snatched from the jaws of victory. The boy wonder Jude Bellingham has made his much anticipated move to Real Madrid. So let's see if we can reinvest that money and change Dortmund's fortunes for the better. We are using your world mode with Switzerland's start date. Bellingham is long gone, but no other transfers have been completed. Instructions for setting up are in the description below. As usual, we will start by assessing the squad, and that means I need to introduce something new. The pizza charts are gone. In fact, this whole squad screen is gone. We've instead got new mini profiles so you can see multiple players at once. The metrics will be indicated by these icons here. Defensive metrics on the left, attacking/in possession metrics on the right. We're still talking in percentiles, and they'll be color-coded as follows. Faded white, that means they're below the 50th percentile. Yellow means they're above average, between the 50th and 75th percentile. Green is good, between the 75th and 90th percentile. And cyan is elite, 90th percentile and above. Below are some key details. The position group that the player belongs to for statistical analysis, how old they are, their in-game market value. For our players, this will be the lower boundary. For transfer targets, this will be the upper boundary. And then their current contract, years remaining, and salary. So Mr. Outfield here is a fullback who is an elite presser, good at aiding progression through passing and dribbling, and above average at winning his tackles. He's rubbish at everything else. Now the pizza charts aren't gone entirely. I'll be using these profiles for the initial assessment, when we're using aggregated data from the simulations. When we're looking at data generated in the save itself, we'll be back to normal. Now let's get on with it. An initial glance at the squad planner suggests it's pretty balanced. At least 2 players in every position, with a healthy smattering of youth players included. If anything, it's a little bloated. 5 right wingers, 5 right backs, and 4 goalkeepers. Of those 4 keepers, only one, Gregor Kerbel, played enough minutes in the simulations for us to have data, and he was rather good. Conceded little, prevented a healthy amount, and effective at sweeping. We're going blind with the backups here, but they should be sufficient. No foreshadowing here whatsoever. 5 right backs is excessive. Here's the top 3 according to our many assistant managers. Ryerson is decent in the air, good at progressive passes, not necessarily the most attacking option. Meunier didn't play enough, is earning an absolute fortune and in the final year of his contract. Sold to Real Sociedad for €2.5 million. Wolf is like Ryerson, but also good at dribbling. The best option yet, but also in the last year of his contract and not interested in renewing. Sold to Aston Villa for €6.25 million, rising to €8 million. We still have 2 more, Felix Passlack and Matteo Mori. Mori is another who didn't play and has an expiring contract. Sold for €1.3 million to St. Gallen. Passlack starts the game transfer listed, but he survives. Homegrown, an effective presser, amenable wages. At left back, we look pretty good. Rafael Guerrero's attacking output is impressive and effective at winning possession. He's also out for the first 4 months. Tom Roth is also impressive and an elite presser too, but there's an asterisk. He did this out on loan in Bundesliga 2, and we don't want to rely on an 18-year-old here. We've sent him out on loan once again. Schultz didn't play, starts transfer listed, but his club-friendly salary makes him a good backup. This is an area I'd like to improve. Dortmund did in real life, bringing in Rami Bensebaini on a free transfer. Elite in the air, good at ball progression, okay at winning possession. Unfortunately, he'd cost us 18.5 million in-game, and we can do better. Junior Firpo is safer on the ball and better in the tackle, albeit at a lower level. Tagliafico is also better in the tackle, elite at winning possession, but at the cost of dribbliness. Terzic also sacrifices dribbliness, but has a creativity the others lack. We also lack that creativity on the right, so Terzic would offer balance. 15.25 million is only a little cheaper than Bensebaini. 65k per week is considerably less than the Algerian's 115 though. At centre-back, we have 3 right footers, Hummels, Soulé and Papadopoulos. There isn't much between the first two. Hummels is more creative. He's also in the final year of his contract, which will allow him to see out. Soulé is more dribbly and presses more. We aren't looking to actively sell him, but his 210k per week salary means we'll probably let him leave if an offer comes in. One was not forthcoming. Papadopoulos didn't play enough, but looks promising that we've extended his contract. Left footers we have Schlotterbeck and Koulibaly. Schlotterbeck is kind of the median of Hummels and Soulé, whilst also being our only centre-back with an above-average tackle win rate. Koulibaly, like Papadopoulos, is a promising backup. At the base of our midfield, Emre Can and Salah Ozcan. Can is elite at regaining and retaining possession, as well as an aerial force. Ozcan is a good tackler, but otherwise there's a drop-off. He also earns nearly double of Can, and I think we can get better for cheaper. Sold to the highest bidder, in this case Milan, for exactly 10 million euros. Our options to replace him are Tim Breithaupt, Nicolas Capaldo, or Sivert Manswerk. Breithaupt is not as good in the tackle or at regaining possession. He is elite, however, at retaining possession, whilst also having above average creativity. Capaldo is elite when it comes to creativity though, and better at ball progression for a slight cost of aerial contribution. Manswerk is also creative, but not as good in the tackle. The decision, however, is not necessarily all my own. The board aren't going to force my hand, but they'll gently nudge me towards their preferences. In this case, they want us to sign German players, from German clubs, who are under 23 and will play in the first team. Breithaupt satisfies all 3 criteria, and is the cheapest of the options too. 4.2 million euros, 28k per week. For more dynamic box-to-box type midfielders, we have a couple of options, Mahmoud Dahoud and Ole Pullman. Dahoud was allowed to leave on a free transfer in real life, but he's pretty good. Creative, good at winning possession, reasonably safe on the ball, all at a pretty low wage. He stays. Pullman is a utility player who can be useful as a backup. We could do with one more here, and Dortmund signed Sabitzer for this role in real life, for around 19 million euros. He's similar to Dahoud but without the progressive passes or ball safety. I would like a player here who is more effective at pressing. Alan Varela, Hugo Vetlesen and Wendell are our 3 options, all above average at pressures attempted. Otherwise, Varela is very similar to Sabitzer. Still at Boca in your world mode, his transfer fee might be higher, but he'd cost a lot less in wages. Vetlesen is a more attacking option, an elite goal scorer from midfield, but not as good at winning back possession. Finally, Wendell, only good at expected assists, but that comes with added ball security. I'm a big fan of ball security, and that's why this video is brought to you by No, it's not, sorry, bad joke. I mean, I am a big fan of ball security, just not the other bit. And that's why we signed Wendell, 4 years younger than Sabitzer, almost half the transfer fee at 10.25 million, and his 60k per week is far more palatable than the Austrian's 145. Marco Reus and Julian Brandt represent our more playmaker type of options. Brandt is more creative, an effective goal scorer and safe with the ball. Reus, surprisingly, is elite at winning back possession. He's also in the last year of his contract and, like Hummels, will be allowed to see it out. We're pretty set here. I've split wingers by footedness. We have 5 right footers. Let's start by talking about the bottom 3 according to our assistants. Thorgan Hazard was brilliant in Belgium. Elite creativity, safe with the ball. He's also in the last year of his contract and wouldn't necessarily be a starter. Moreover, West Ham were willing to give us 7.75 million for him. Jamie Binu-Gittens did not play and is injured for the first 6 months. Ansgar Nauf was pretty underwhelming and we've sent him back out on loan to develop further. That leaves us with Daniel Malen and Giovanni Reina. Malen is a good goal scorer and not much else. Maybe he's better suited up front. Reina was solid in an attacking capacity and delightful out of possession. With 2 years left on his contract, we've extended him on 75k per week. On the left, Karim Adeyemi and Marco Pasalic. Like Reina, Adeyemi has been effective out of possession. Like Malen, Adeyemi might be more of a striker than an attacking midfielder. Pasalic did not play, and we've sent him out on loan. Up front, Sebastian Haller, Anthony Modeste, and Youssoufa Moukoko. Only Haller played enough in the simulations, but let's cover the other 2 first. Modeste looks a capable backup, but we're going to reinforce here, so we've shipped him off to Marseille for $500,000. Our tactical plans means Moukoko has also gone, albeit on loan. Haller is a quandary. Elite in the air, a good goal scorer, occasionally creative. His recovery from testicular cancer is a real feel-good story, and as we established earlier, I value ball security. Despite that, I would consider selling. His wages are high, and for that I think we could get better. But his market value is low, so we might be better served keeping hold of him and hoping his value rises. Now in real life, Dortmund signed Niklas Füllkrug for around 17 million. We do want to strengthen here, but Füllkrug didn't play enough in the simulations, so we'll use Haller as the comparison point. Petar Musa, Giovanni Simeone, and Yusuf Poulsen are our options. All elite in the air, all okay in terms of creativity. Poulsen is a little behind the others in goal output, but he does satisfy the board's desire for us to sign players from German clubs. Musa is the youngest and perhaps the greatest potential for his value to increase, but his performance data does come from the MLS. Simeone, well, we've done that before, with Chelsea, so it'd be a bit boring to do it again, even if he was excellent. And so we've taken the swing on Musa. His better goal output and defensive contribution tipped it in his favour, 9.25 million and 75k per week. That's 4 players in for 38.85 million, and 6 out for 28.3 million. That's a net spend of 10.5 million, and we've shrunk the squad. Of course, that doesn't include the 103 million euros for Jude Bellingham. We haven't replaced him. In real life, Dortmund signed Felix Nmecha for 30 million euros, but I don't feel that's necessary. And that's because, tactically, we're going to do something a little different. As always, this is merely a skeleton, a very basic tactic to be considered the starting point. Watching games and assessing performances within it, it can be improved immeasurably. We're going with the very first choice in the tactic creator, a 4-4-2. Not your Brexit 4-4-2, but a 4-4-2 nonetheless. We'll start with build-up. I want 3 in the back line to help against the intense pressing we come to expect in the Bundesliga. A half-back with instruction to take more risks. They're offset and will likely take up a spot to the side, so on the other side we'll have a ball-playing defender instructed to dribble more. That means a lot of our progression will come from the outside positions in that 3. A plain central defender in the middle. Our wide defenders will both be fullbacks, an attacking one on the half-back side, a supporting one on the other side. In initial build-up, fullbacks tend to stay deep, with the more attacking one joining the front line once possession has been established. That means from our own goal kicks, we end up with a kind of 3-3 shape, again helping us deal against the opposition press. The remaining midfielder will be a ball-winning midfielder, instructed to dribble more. They are here to harass the opposition and aid progression through carrying. Behind the strikers, 2 attacking midfielders. Once again, 1 attacking, 1 on support. This is the opposite way round to the fullbacks. The supporting one is a playmaker, but without us forcing the ball to them or the restriction on shooting. They will roam from position, dribble more, and take more risks. The attacking one is a shadow striker without the playmaking, instructed to move into channels. Up front, a supporting target forward and an advanced forward. The target forward is on the attacking midfielder's side. When he drops deep or goes for aerial challenges, there is a player breaking into the space he creates. Donyell Malen and Karim Adeyemi will be our advanced forwards, using their pace to be a threat in behind and minimising their lack of creative output. We're overloading central spaces, so we'll play fairly narrow. I want us to play through the press, so we'll play out of defence and pass shorter. We prioritise ball retention with our recruitment, and so we're confident of being able to do this effectively. Once we get into the final third, we'll be more expressive. Out of possession, we'll counter-press because
you know we always counter-press. It's simply the best. Time to get the ball back. To get the ball back.
We will also roll the ball out to encourage playing out of defence. Out of possession, we have 4 players in advanced positions, so we'll press high. And in the interests of compactness, that means we need a much higher defensive line. We will press more often and get stuck in. We don't want to be passive, but we don't necessarily want to overcommit. As our defensive strength is central, we will trap inside. And that informs our opposition instructions. We show wide players onto their inside foot. We always press on attacking midfielders. Finally, we ask our fullbacks and defensive midfielders to tackle harder. There are 2 versions to this tactic, one with the advanced forward on the right for when Malen plays that role, one with the advanced forward on the left for when Adeyemi plays that role. All other roles are flipped accordingly. All that's left to do is play the game. Here's how that works. All responsibilities have been delegated except those pertaining to transfers. Staffing, media, training, set pieces, all under the auspices of our backroom team. I'll go on holiday between games, turn up on the match day, pick the starting lineup, then hit instant result. After the game, I'll give the players 1 day's rest. Repeat ad nauseum. If I contend that Terzic deserved the sack for losing the title on the final day, looks like I'm out of a job. We bottled it even earlier, the penultimate game in fact. Although the moment it was lost happened a couple of months prior. Gregor Kerbel tore his wrist ligaments on international duty, and those backup keepers mentioned earlier were not up to the task. Alexander Meyer conceded 30% more than expected. Marcel Lotka, 100% more. That resulted in an April with just a solitary win, and a comfortable league lead evaporated. Otherwise, we were very good, scoring 9 goals more than the second best team and 20 more than expected. In terms of expected goals, we had less than 2 fewer than Bayern Munich, despite them winning 9 more penalties. Our chance creation was elite, as was our conversion rate. Defensively, we conceded the second fewest, overall exactly as many as expected. We were excellent at preventing the ball from reaching the final third. A quarter-final exit in the Champions League might have occurred with Kerbel injured, but overcoming Arsenal would have been a tall ask regardless. A rotated lineup fell at the same stage of the DFB Pokal. As for the players, Terzic was brilliant. In the 70th percentile for pressures, 90th for progressive passes and dribbles, 95th for expected assists and goals. Guerrero had better attacking output, but when he played he was exclusively on the attacking duty, whilst Terzic split time between attacking and supporting. Wendell was okay, he did a lot of things I wanted from him, namely progressing the ball through passing and carrying and keeping the ball safe. His defensive contribution was disappointing though, registering few pressures and only winning 70% of his tackles. Breithaupt on the other hand was a delight. A 13.7% progressive pass rate is incredible, as was being in the 99th percentile for possession lost. He won his headers and was decent in the tackle. Perfect relief for Emre Can. Petar Musa was also wonderful. 0.60 goals from only 0.34 xg. He was deadly. More impressive was his overall contribution, receiving a lot of passes but rarely losing the ball, and a pest out of possession. The rest of the team we'll look at in the next video. That's right, there's going to be a part 2. Hummel's and Royce's impending departure means we're only really halfway through the rebuild, and we've got unfinished business. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like or maybe even subscribing. If you want to support the channel further, there is now a Patreon linked in the description below. See you next time.